Hi, we recently had a question come in to the IBM community, the Transformation Extender group, about the capabilities of TX with CSV importing. And why can't TX handle this? Excel understands this. And the use case here is escaping a comma in the middle of quoted strings. Now, our old legacy CSV importer in our design studio does not handle this. So the submitter is correct. However, with 10.1 and above, the new user experience with TX has a new CSV importer which handles both escaping and quoting behaviors during CSV import. So we're going to take a look at that today. First, though, I did take this example with the hello world or hi hello and took a little liberty. I gave it better looking column names. But you can see we've got ABC hello world and DEF hi comma hello in double quotes and then ABC. So I've left everything the same except for the column names, and just because I wanted to show that we do generate column names correctly. So going into the new version of ITX and looking at the new design server UI, I usually start off all my new projects with a utility tree or two so that I can create a map and test it out and see some output and some amount of formatting other than just blob. So I'm going to import my tree. And so I've got it in its own little zip. It's called utility tree. And I'm going to use it to start off a new project, CSV test, and importing my tree. And so now I have a brand new project, csv.test. And the only thing I have here in csv.test right now is a schema named test. And I'll just take a quick look at that just to show you its structure. Nothing fancy. If I go to my file and look at its structure, I see I have a file made up of a bunch of rows. Each row has two elements, value and name. Sometimes I use both, sometimes I don't, but it's very handy to have. I'll do an analyze on my tree, and we're looking good. We probably won't need the tree anymore. So the next thing I want to do is create another tree or schema based on the CSV test data that I have. So first I'm going to import that CSV test data. I've got it there. And I can see, if I go back into my files pull-up, I see it there. So far I have a test schema, files with my CSV text file that we created. And the next thing I'm going to do is use this to create another schema, one for the CSV file. So I'm going to import. My type will be CSV. I'm going to point to my sample, which is CSV under test.txt. It does have headers, so I'm going to treat my headers separately. I'm going to look at the format, and I'm going to take a custom format in this case. So I'm going to use a custom format with carriage return line feed as my line break, a comma delimiter, double quotes as my quoting scheme. We have options, and then escape. We have many options. I'm just going to use none. And I'm going to give it a name and import it. And once I've done that, you'll see that I have two trees. I'm going to take a look at my CSV tree. Once again, I'm going to go to my document and look at the structure to see what it created for me. So it created a header with 1 alpha, 2 greeting, 3 scope, which were the column names I put in, and then the actual fields associated with each of these. So we've got our 2 trees, and now we are ready to map. So I'm going to go into my mapper and create a brand new map and give it a call CSV quoted. I'm not going to be very imaginative and put things in folders or add descriptions. A nice blank canvas. Going to my palette, I'm going to first create my target, and my target is going to be really clever, called output, and it does not use command line. It is using an existing connection type. The connection type, while I'm testing, will be file. The file path, this is my sample data. I'm going to create, failure, commit, taking all the defaults to keep everything simple. Now it wants to know my schema or type tree associated with this. And so this is my test output. This is my little test tree. And my root is file. So you can see I've got my output. And now I'm going to add my source. And this is my CSV data. Just like I did before, no command line, existing connection, also a file, because I'm getting that file that I have here in my system. And it's CSV test. My schema, I'm going to point to the brand new CSV imported schema that we created. And its root is document. And continue. I'm going to add that to my canvas. So I've got my from and my to. In this case, although I'm presented with an option for auto map, the similarities between my input and output just aren't there. So I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to do old time manual drag and drop mapping. So what do we have? We have a bunch of rows in the input. We have a header row and a bunch of rows in the input. I don't care about my header row, so I'm just going to forget that it exists. I could create an index and do the header separately. I won't. So what I want to do is I want to, for each row of my actual data, I want to trigger something. So I'm going to get my row. I'm going to do a functional map because that's what we do in ITX. I'm going to very cleverly call it F under map. It's asking me if I want to create a corresponding functional map, and the answer is yes, because I don't want to do all that by hand. And so now I'm in my CSV quoted functional map, and my options are, I've got my two dummy fields that I can map to. I'm not going to be fancy, so I'm going to just make this none, because I only care about the data and showing you how the data is separated. And it's my field. Now here, I'm just going to concatenate my fields together. Just put them all in one output field. And so that I can prove that these are all unique and I can show how we parse the data, I'm just going to do a little bit of text and put a number in front of each of them. Probably put it in parentheses and quotes. So it's easier to see when we look at the output. And make my line look a little nicer. So I'm creating a string of for each row, each 3 pieces, each 3 columns with 1, 2, and 3 in between them. So I've got my rule. I'm going to save my functional map. I'm going to build and run my map. And my run is complete. Now if I want to see the output that we created, I'm going to go to the output card and view data. So you can see ABC, hello world, DEF, hi hello was all interpreted as one piece of data, and ABC. I hope this helped. Thank you for watching and have a great day.